Hello everybody, welcome to Gaia Tree Tarot. So today's reading, we are answering the question, what do people love about you? And we have this pink cherry blossom candle, which pink, for those of you who don't know, is associated with self-love and also just love in general and warm affectionate feelings. So I felt it was appropriate for today's reading. I'm going to light this up for you. Also, if you can't tell, I am trying a new setup today. I like this top-down view. I feel like it's better for y'all to see all the cards and what's going on. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if you prefer this setup or my other setups that I have on other videos on the channel. Yeah. But without further ado, let's get into the piles. So, for those of you who are, I'm sure most of you are familiar with pick a cards, but for those of you who are new to the concept, we have three options, or in this case, they're being represented by three shells: Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. So what you're going to do is pause the video if you need to, meditate on the shells, on the options, and choose one of the options. I will list below in the description the timestamps for each one of the groups, and you can jump to that timestamp and it will take you straight to your reading. So yeah, pause the video if you need to, meditate on the options, and I will see you at your designated timestamp. Alright everybody, if you chose Group 1, this beautiful little shell, I love this one. It looks like lace to me. I don't know. I don't know if this picks up on camera, but it's very iridescent in person. This is your reading on why people love you, or what do people love about you. Alrighty. Okay. So, we have the Knight of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the King of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, Six of Wands, the Hanged Man, Queen of Swords, and the Two of Swords. So just give me a minute to digest this information. So right off the bat, I can see that you are somebody who's very fun-loving and free, and you may be very dreamy, and you make people feel really good about themselves. You make people happy. You also have a very logical approach to life. You have a very strong mind. You're very smart. And you're kind of like the whole package. Like, people see you as kind as well as attractive. Yeah, it looks like you have the ability to go within yourself. You might be you might present as a quiet person. You might not. You might be more extroverted. But either way, you can be very reflective on any given situation. And I think people really trust your opinion, and they admire your mind and your logic and the way that you go about deciding things, or the choices that you make in life, especially with the Two of Swords and the Queen of Swords here too. We have the Queen and the King of Swords. You might also have a really good balance of masculine and feminine energies, and you also say it like it is. Like, you say what you mean and mean what you say, and you're a truth talker. Like, you speak the truth, whatever it is. I think that you also have the ability to, you might be a little sharp with your tongue at times, or say things like, not that they're inaccurate, but just that are very like to the point, like blunt. But I think you have the ability to be compassionate within that. Like, to you, honesty is a form of like loyalty, is a form of respect. At least that's how you view it, and you would want somebody to be honest with you, so that's how you treat others. And it's I think, yeah, there's a lot about like your decision making here too. Like, people just really trust your mind and your decisions, and the way that I think they really look up to you. I think you're also a very abundant person, or you may have a very deep inner spiritual world, and you're very successful in life. Like, whatever it is that you do, your mind and your spirit causes you, how do I put this? It brings you good things. You might have a lot of abundance, or a lot of like financial abundance, through these qualities that you have, or even just like, I think it's also like relational abundance. Like, you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of people who love you and support you and care about you, and can see your success, and can see like how, well, maybe they can't see exactly how you do it. They might even wonder how you do it, because I don't think that it's something, like, your inner process isn't necessarily something that you show the world, but I think it intrigues people, and I think that draws them to you. You also seem like you're a very good friend, emotionally supportive friend, with the Ten of Cups and the Knight of Cups here. Or you might have very dreamy, and especially with Pisces, like, you might come across as a very dreamy person, or a person who's very much in their own head. And I think that intrigues people. Like, they want to know what's going on inside your brain, and especially how you like, how you come to the conclusions that you have come to. Like, you may have had a difficult past, or, I mean, we all have difficulties in life, but I think that, like, you have used, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You have used the difficulties of your life, of your past, to make you stronger, and it has brought you a lot of wisdom, and I think that intrigues people, you know, because I don't think you necessarily share your process with them, but you do share the results. And I think that really intrigues people. I'm gonna pull a few more cards for you. Okay. So we have the Five of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. I just want to say that, like, you are just a dream come true for a lot of people. Like, you're so loved. People really appreciate your insights and your emotional support and your honesty. Like, I think, like, the people who can handle your honesty really appreciate your honesty and your directness. And they see you as somebody who's smart and kind and attractive, and like, you just kind of have it all. Like, with Ten of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, like, the dream comes true. Like, you're successful, and you're beautiful, and you have a beautiful personality, and you're a good friend. Let's see here. I think that you're also very compassionate, but in a logical way, if that makes sense. Like, you're empathetic, but like you think through the empathy, if that makes any sense. Like, not that you don't feel things, like, you know, but I think that when somebody hurts you or argues with you, I think you take it perhaps a bit more personally than people might realize. And I don't think you necessarily share that with people. But, like, you know, you might even be kind of self-conscious in a certain kind of way. And again, I don't think this is something that people notice about you per se, because you wouldn't project that. But like, you might be the kind of person who you'll be in a social situation and you might say or do something, and then you'll like overthink that. And, you know, wonder if like the other person was offended by what you said, or but it comes from a good place, because you don't want to hurt people too. You might even blame yourself for things that aren't your fault, which you don't have to do that. Especially here, like, you see, this is the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Swords. So deception and like mental, like, you might have had some really painful endings where you trusted people that maybe you shouldn't have trusted, and it ended in a way that like really broke your heart and really hurt you. And I think maybe you even still think about these people, which I want to say that, like, other people's actions and other people's mistreatment of you is not your fault or your responsibility to deal with. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to reframe that and say that, like, it says more about you, the way you feel about it, than it does about them. Like, the fact that you still care and the fact that you still think about these people shows how loving you are and how much you care about other people. And like that example I gave earlier about the social situation and overthinking things, I mean, that might not necessarily be a thing that you do, or you might do it without realizing it, or, I mean, who knows, maybe you did it when you were younger and that's not really a thing you do anymore. But your self-consciousness is really a sign of consideration, of how considerate you are, and also the fact that you still worry about, like, the people of the past and how they have hurt you says a lot about how deeply you care for people and how deeply you love. And I feel like this isn't something that people necessarily immediately see about you, but the people who know you well know this about you, and the people who actually respect you and the people who actually deserve to be in your life. Because clearly, if people are hurting you, they left, they don't deserve to be there. You know, you are a good person, you are golden, and you only deserve golden people in your life. And, you know, it says a lot to your character. It speaks a lot about your character. You know, I think you're the kind of person to, like, these people who have left your life, even if they really hurt you, and they probably deserve, like, regardless of what they deserve for their actions, I think you still wish them well, and you wish them the best, and you really still care about them. Like, they still hold a place in your heart, even if they don't deserve it. Yeah. This could have been somebody from work too, like somebody, maybe it was an old boss or coworker. who left your life, who hurt you. Yeah. Or maybe it could have also been like a coworker who you were romantically interested in and they rejected you. It doesn't even have to be a coworker. It might just be somebody who rejected you. But I think that it's important that you know that even if somebody is not romantically interested in you, that doesn't mean that you aren't attractive in that way, and that you aren't valuable, you know? If somebody isn't into you, that's about them, not about you. And I think it's important that you know, like, Spirit is bringing this to my attention because it's important that you know that you are beautiful, that you are attractive, that you are important, that you are so loved, that you are the whole package. And if they can't see that, then they don't deserve it. Like, they wouldn't value you anyway if you were with them, you know? You deserve somebody who sees who you really are and likes that and loves that and appreciates that. Yeah. Love. You are loved. You are very loved. And there are definitely people who find you attractive. And the right kind of people will love you for who you are. And see you for who you are and appreciate the things about you that make you, you. And if they don't do that, then you don't want them in your life anyway. Trust me. It's not worth the effort. You know, you really deserve the best. And I think that, like, if this person rejected you, like they say, rejection is divine protection. If this person rejected you, Spirit was protecting you from a person who wouldn't really appreciate the fullness of you anyway. But I can see that that hurts you. And I think that's important for you to know that. I mean, that might only be for a few of you, like that message. But yeah, even if that's not that's a very specific situation. If that specific situation doesn't apply to you, like, I think it's important to say that, like, you are attractive and beautiful anyway. You are attractive and beautiful, not just, like, physically, but, like, you have a beautiful personality. You have a beautiful humanness. And you're very successful. You got a lot going for you. And only the people who really can see that and can understand that in its fullness are the people who are worth your love. So yeah, that's all I see for you, pile 1. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, if you chose this little orange shell, pile 2, this is your reading on why people love you, or what people love about you. Okay, so we have the Hermit, 8 of Swords, 2 of Swords, the Emperor, the World, the Universe, the King of Swords, and the 8 of Wands, and the Ace of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. So right off the bat, you are a pretty person. There are a lot of people who have crushes on you. I'm sure you know who they are. You're very joyful and happy and outgoing. You also are a take charge kind of person. Like you might be a very thoughtful kind of person. And I mean thoughtful as in, like, you have a lot of thoughts spinning around your brain a lot of the time. You might have some anxiety, but you don't let that hold you back. I think that, like, your ability to transmute your emotions and your thoughts and put it into action is one of the most attractive things about you. And I think that's what people really like about you, is your drive and your passion. And you might also be kind of mysterious in a way. Like, people don't always know what they're going to get from you. You're very, like, you're a protective kind of person too. Like, I think that when it comes to, like, your friends and your family, you are the one who stands up for them or protects them. Like, you would do anything for the people you love, and I think people see that and they really appreciate that about you. I think you're always looking out for your family and your friends. Always, like, you might be the main caregiver of your family, or, like, provider, like, financially and materially, or even just, like, you know, you could be like a mother, like a caregiver. And I think that your children really appreciate the ways that you give to them and you take care of them, even if they don't express it, because, like, or they will, you know, sometimes children aren't always aware when if you have, like, really young children, they don't quite have the brain capacity to understand what's going on, or the vocabulary to express, like, their gratitude. But I think that, like, one day they'll understand, and they'll be very grateful for the ways that you care for them, and the ways that you protect them and look out for them and, you know, provide for them. Again, it looks like you have a lot of worries, but, like, you don't let those stop you or hold you back. And I think people really just, they admire that so much, that you're able to really just, like, deal with so much. Like, you go through so much, and instead of, like, letting it define you or stop you in your tracks like it would for many people, like, you use that almost as fuel to propel you forward. And I think people really, like, you're just so strong. Like, people really admire that about you. You're a very take charge kind of person. Like, you don't let anything get in your way. If you want something, you go for it. Or if your family or, you know, somebody you love and care about needs something, like, you go for it. Like, you might be a fire sign or even an earth sign. Like, there's just, like, this inward determination to you. And also, I think that, like, I think that's one of the most attractive things about you, and I think that people also find you physically attractive as well. You might even have a lot of suitors, a lot of potential people who are interested in you. Not saying that you're also interested in them, you know, sometimes we don't always reciprocate those feelings, but there are definitely people who are interested in you. All right, I'm gonna pull just a few more. Okay, let's see here. Interesting. We have the Ten of Cups and the Four of Cups in reverse, the Five of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. So you see the opportunity in your sadness and in your heartbreak. And I think that's what makes you so magic. And that's why, you know, these things don't hold you back, is like you see it as a challenge to overcome rather than something that's just like, oh well, like, you know, like this thing is, you know, this thing got in my way and I guess I can't do that now. Like you're like no, like this is a challenge. This is like, it's almost like fun for you. Maybe it's not, like, fun's might be the wrong word for that, but like inspiring might be, like, it inspires you to conquer it, might be a better way to put it. And I think you also have a lot of love inside of you. I'm attracted to how, like, this kind of makes a heart, and then there's this little flower, and it's the same color as the bird's belly, almost like where the bird's heart is. Like, you just have a very beautiful, giving, loving, protective heart. And also, like, yeah, when things don't go your way, you see an opportunity to learn from it and to grow from it and to use that information. Like, you're best friends with failure in, like, the best way. Like, you probably have failed a lot in your life. And you've used those learning experiences to make you who you are. Yeah. Yeah, you might have had a really hard past, too. And I think people are just so, like, inspired by you and by your ability to do this, to, like, just, like, go through everything you've been through and to be as strong and as loving as you are. You know, the things that would have broken others have only, like, nothing has touched your light, nothing has touched your heart. You know, the things that would have turned others bitter have made you softer and sweeter, and I think that's just so beautiful to people. Like, it's like a, like, mama bear. Like bears are, they're vicious, and they living in the wild is not an easy existence, but, well, I guess, like, when you say, like, mama bear energy, like, a mother bear will do anything to protect their child. And I think that's kind of like, you have this inward fight, this inward drive, this inward viciousness that has, like, helps you conquer, and with the Libra, like, bring balance and understanding to every challenge you have faced. And it has made you better. Like, it has made you a better person. And I think, you know, people really are inspired by the weight that you have carried, and, like, the way that you carry it so well. And maybe it feels really heavy to you too, but, like, other people don't see that. They just see you as strong. And I think that's what they love about you, is that you're just so strong and so, like despite all that you've been through, you're happy anyway, and you're thriving, you know, and you've used it to propel you forward and to yeah, I think people are just really, they just love you. They love your heart. They love the way you make them feel protected and supported and loved, the way you're strong, the way you've conquered your past battles and used them only to make you stronger, and even, like, the wisdom that it has brought you to. So that's all I see for you, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, if you chose pile 3, this little shell, I also like the underside of it. I don't know if you can see, but it's a really pretty color. It's a like mauve-y, pinky color. But anyway, if you chose pile 3, this is your reading. This is what people love about you. So we have the Page of Swords, the Emperor, 5 of Wands, 2 of Cups, 8 of Wands, and the World. And we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of Wands, the 7 of Wands, the Chariot, and the Queen of Cups. A lot of wands. So this one's actually kind of interesting. This one is what people love about you, but it's not, it's almost like people like love and hate you. Not like they hate you, but like you are a very karmic person. You hold a lot of lessons for people, and I think that people love you, but they love the lessons that you teach them without realizing it. Like, I think you're a messenger of types. The Page of Swords can speak about a message, but I think you're the message. Like, you reflect to people some of the best and even some of the worst parts about them, and it causes them to grow. And I think it's usually pretty uncomfortable for people to go through these types of growth, but I think that that's what people like. When like I'm getting this example from like exes, like perhaps you've dated people and you know when you were in a relationship with them, perhaps it could have been kind of toxic, or you might have argued a lot or fought a lot, but when after and maybe that relationship ended, and you broke up with them, but after the relationship, maybe not necessarily in the relationship, maybe in the relationship too, but after the relationship, when that person looked back on that situation, they really appreciated the ways that you pushed them to grow and the ways that you shaped who they became, and like the ways you reflected to them parts of themselves, so that they could become a better version of themselves. And again, like, these weren't always comfortable changes for people, and I think maybe like in those situations you felt like you weren't liked, but you really were. Like, I think that people appreciate that about you, and I think they love that about you because that is a very unique quality. Not very many people are strong enough to like face themselves and sit with themselves, and on top of that, like, be like a good mirror for other people. Like, you show them who they really are, for better or worse. And I think you might even have kind of like a polarizing personality because of that. Like, polarizing as in like, there are people who really just like love you and get it, and then there are people who don't like you at all, and that is not about you, because really what they don't like is what you reflect about them. Like, they might see parts of themselves in you that they don't like about themselves, and they attribute that to you. But you are a very balancing person. You're very karmic, but in a good way. Like, it's not a comfortable way, but it's a good way. Like, you're a teacher without trying to be. Like, I don't think this is something that you actively try to do. You don't meet somebody and you're like, I'm going to teach them who they really are. Like, no. Like, you just exist. You just are that. You're extremely powerful in that way. Like, and it's it's beautiful. I think that people from your past, if they're not in your life anymore, like they look back on you and they like miss you, and they miss the times that you had, like when the times were good. I think that, you know, there was a lot of passion and zeal for life, and like you might be a very adventurous person. You might like to travel. You know, they miss the adventures that they had with you. So I'm going to pull a few more cards. Okay, half the deck comes out. We'll try that again. That was a lot. Apparently there's a lot to say. Okay, so we have the Ten of Swords in reverse, the Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Emperor again. Wow. Okay. We have the Four of Cups in reverse, the High Priestess, and what is that? I can't count. 7, 8, 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, okay, so equally as much as other people, you have helped shape other people, with or without realizing it, I think they've also shaped you too. Like you probably have a very keen intuition on who people really are. I think that's what people love about you, and like the people who can handle themselves, really. I think like you're like salt and vinegar chips. Like you're not for everybody. You really have to just get it to get you. Like you have to be able to sit with yourself and understand yourself, because like I think that you do that. And people who can't do that or can't face themselves, like they're just not going to like you. But the people who do like themselves and who do like you see that you are very wise beyond like lifetimes. Like you have a very strong intuition. You might even be psychic yourself, or like into spirituality or tarot or other art forms, even just like creativity in general. You might be a creative person. You might like to paint or draw or sculpt, write music, write stories, other art forms, build things. Like you might like woodworking. I think people appreciate your craft, whatever that is. You might also be into witchcraft too. Like it could be like creative craft or like magical craft, you know? So either or both of those, whatever applies to you, people think that's beautiful about you. Like that it inspires them. The way that you use that craft to move you forward, to like to make you a better person. I think they're inspired by your alchemical abilities, and they love that about you. You're very, like, you have boss energy too. Like, I think that you just have, like, a very big personality, perhaps. Without, like, you don't have to say a word. Just your energy when you walk into a room is just, like, I'm the boss. Like, I'm in charge. And I don't think you have an ego about it either. Like, I don't think you walk into a room and you're just like, I'm in charge here. Like, no, you don't do that. But it's like, your energy just, like, radiates like royalty. Like, or like you know who you are and you know what you want, and you're able to see through people and understand people because of how well you understand yourself. And that either intimidates the wrong people or it really like inspires the right people. you gain a lot of respect, I think, for that. Maybe inspire is the wrong word, though it inspires too. I think it's like people respect that about you. Let's see here. Yeah, I think you're a very complicated person. Well, simpler than, like, I think you're simple to yourself, but I think to other people, like, you're complicated, or like they don't quite get you. I think it's because you're a very specific kind of person. You're very unique. You're a very specific flavor. And you know, only people who kind of like vibe and gel with that flavor can get it. But yeah, you're not always forthcoming with who you are either. I think you're a rare commodity as well. Like, you kind of like, you portray yourself as that. Like, you're sophisticated. You know your worth, and you don't just give it away to anybody. And I think that's very attractive about you. I think that, you know, people are very attracted to that. You know, we always want what we can't have, and you kind of have this energy of like, you can't have me. But it's not like out of like, it's not, it's more of a protection thing on your end. Like, on your end, you're not doing it to like taunt people. You're doing it more because like, I need to know, like, I've been hurt before. I need to know that you are going to respect me, and that you are going to treat me for what I'm worth. I know I'm worth. I know what I'm worth. I know who I am. And like, unless you can see that, unless you can get on my level and really appreciate like me for me, you know, I'm just not gonna fuck with you. Like, you know, and I think people see that about you, and they value that, they appreciate that, they respect that. And I think that makes you that much more attractive as well. Like, without even, like, you're not doing it to, without even trying to. I think these are things like people see in you without you even trying. I think you're also compassionate as well. Like, the people who know you well and who know your emotions, like, they just appreciate how loving you are, and how compassionate you can be. And I think that, like, you know, like, you might have a harder exterior, a very protective exterior, but like, deep in your core, you have a lot of love. And I think it almost drowns you. Like you have a lot of emotions that drown you, but like, the way you project it, like, people would never ever know. But the people who know you really well, like, I'm talking like maybe like a handful of people, like one or two, you know who they are. They love that emotion. They love that who you are. Like, they love yeah, they love your softness. And I think they feel very privileged to be able to see that softness, because I don't think that's something you don't let your guard down to just anyone, you know. But the people who you do let your guard down to, they really appreciate that, and they appreciate your vulnerability. And I think they think your vulnerability is beautiful as well. And I think they just feel like, so, like, it just makes people feel that much more valuable when you are vulnerable with them, because it's not something you do for everybody. And they just appreciate the love you have to give, and the lessons you have to teach, and your loyalty. Like, I think, you know, you're selective about who you love and who you open up to, but when you do love and open up to somebody, like, you're very loyal to them. You know, you really push people to grow. And for the people who are ready to grow and ready to accept that, like, they love that about you. They love the ways that you challenge them and you push them to grow. and for the people who weren't ready to see themselves and weren't ready for the lessons you had to give, and they're no longer in your life, like, I think maybe some of them look back on you and really, now that they realize what you did for them, like, they love that about you, even if in the situation, like, things, or they also appreciate the ways that they've seen you grow, maybe vicariously, like, maybe they watch you on social media or something, and they can see that you're a different person than you were when you knew them, and I think they think it's beautiful the way that you have grown, and the ways that the lessons that you have taught them as well, since they've had time to sort of digest those lessons, right? And again, I think these, like, you don't set out to have this kind of energy. I think this is just who you are. This is just what you do. Like, you don't try. You just are that. And I think it's so beautiful and so unique. Like, yeah, that's what people love about you. All right, pile 3. That was your reading. I hope you enjoyed. And let me know in the comments below what you thought. And I hope to see you next one. Bye.